Far in the northern lands, under the shimmering northern lights, stood a magnificent ice palace. Its spires rose like frozen spears toward the sky, each one catching the glow of the auroras above. The entire palace glistened as though carved from pure crystal, a beacon of cold beauty in the endless snow. This was the heart of the kingdom, the home of the Snow Queen. Inside the grand hall, upon a throne of solid ice, sat the Snow Queen. Her long snow-white hair flowed like a river of frost, and her piercing blue eyes shimmered with power. She wore a gown made of frost itself, glittering with every movement. Calm and regal, she looked every bit the ruler of the frozen north. Beyond the palace walls stretched her vast domain. Endless mountains blanketed in snow, rivers locked in glittering ice, and valleys glowing under the soft auroras. The kingdom seemed eternal, untouched by time. It was a land of frozen wonder, protected by her magic. Among the icy winds fluttered her people, snow sprites. Tiny glowing beings with delicate, icy wings darted through the air, leaving trails of sparkling frost behind them. They were loyal, playful, and watchful, always guarding their queen's realm. But one sprite was unlike the rest. Elric, the elder snow sprite, glowed brighter, his wings like frosted glass. On this night, he hovered before the queen, his voice trembling with urgency. "My queen," he said, "a dark change is stir in our land. The southern ice begins to melt." The Snow Queen rose and walked to the palace balcony. From there, she could see the vast frozen plains stretching endlessly. But far in the horizon, something was wrong. Amid the white glow of snow, a faint red shimmer burned. Fire, something her land should never know, flickered on the edge of her vision. Summoning her guardians, she called forth the frost wolves. Towering beasts with fur white, storms and eyes glowing blue, they padded silently into the courtyard. Their growls rumbled like thunder, ready to obey their queen's command. Among them stood Fenrir, the largest of all wolves, stronger and swifter than any. The queen placed her hand gently on his head before mounting his broad back. Her cloak of frost billowed behind her as she prepared to ride out into the unknown. Above, the snow sprites gathered in shining formations, their wings scattering icy dust across the night sky. They swirled together like constellations, a protective veil of light ready to follow wherever their queen led. At last, the massive frozen gates of the palace groaned open. With her frost wolves at her side and her sprites flying above, the Snow Queen rode forth into the night. The land awaited her, and the mystery of the fiery horizon loomed closer. Her journey had begun. At the southern border of the kingdom, the great wall of ice that had stood unbroken for centuries now trembled. Cracks spread like lightning across its surface, sharp echoes rolling through the frozen air. The barrier that had once seemed eternal was weakening. From the south blew strange winds, carrying with them the scent of ash and heat. Red-orange gusts clashed violently with the Queen's blue snowstorms. The collision filled the skies with steam and thunder, a battle of elements raging in the heavens. The Snow Queen reached the border and gazed down at the great frozen river. Once solid and unyielding, its surface now bore a jagged fissure that stretched for miles. Water glimmered faintly beneath, threatening to break free. Suddenly, the sky burned. A blazing fireball tore through the clouds, screaming across the air before smashing into the snow-covered plains. The ground shook violently, and flames licked hungrily at the ice. The Queen raised her hands instantly. Ice surged from the ground, forming a towering shield that absorbed the fiery sparks. The flames hissed against her magic, steam rising in heavy clouds around her. Through the smoke and fire, a shadow stirred. A figure moved within the blaze, its outline tall and menacing, its eyes glowing like burning coals. Though unclear, its presence sent a chill even through the Queen's icy heart. Her frost soldiers advanced, forming defensive lines with spears of solid ice. Their armor glimmered under the weak light as they stood like statues, unyielding before the coming fire. The Queen spread her arms wide. The winds howled, and a massive blizzard rose at her command. Snow and ice whirled in a frenzy, striking back against the invading heat. The storm wrapped around her soldiers, shielding them with its power. But at the far edge of the land, she saw devastation unlike any before. The once frozen forest blazed with flames, trees reduced to ash as fire devoured the ice. The sight tightened her resolve. Her kingdom was truly under siege. The Queen stood tall, Fenrir and the frost wolves growling at her side. Snow sprites circled overhead, their glow dim against the fiery horizon. Her gaze fixed on the storm of flames ahead, knowing the battle for her kingdom had only just begun. The Snow Queen rode across vast icy plains, Fenrir's paws pounding against the snow. Around her, frost wolves ran in perfect formation, while above, glowing snow sprites followed like stars in motion. The frozen land stretched endlessly, but the red glow ahead grew brighter with every mile. Her path led to a deep canyon. Jagged walls of ice rose high on either side, glimmering faintly with blue crystals embedded in the stone. The crystals pulsed with light, illuminating the dark chasm like lanterns guiding her way forward. The Queen halted as the canyon split into a chasm. Below, the frozen floor gave way to molten rock, rivers of fire hissing as they consumed the ice. Steam clouded the air, and the ground trembled with the clash of elements. From the molten flames rose a being of pure fire. Its body shifted like a living inferno, eyes glowing gold and red. Its presence radiated unbearable heat, and even the wolves growled uneasily, their icy breath hissing in the hot air. The fire spirit lunged forward, sending sparks that scorched the snow. The Queen raised her arm, summoning an enormous shield of ice. The flames crashed against it, cracking the surface but failing to pierce through. The sound was like thunder as fire and frost collided. To cross the fiery chasm, the queen pressed her hands to the ground. Ice surged upward, forming a narrow bridge across the lava. Steam rose in violent clouds as the frosty path sizzled above the molten flow. She and her wolves stepped carefully, every movement watched by the fire spirit. Suddenly, a burst of fire struck near, and Fenrir stumbled, his paw scorched by the heat. The queen knelt, placing her hand over the wound. A soft glow of icy blue spread from her palm, sealing the burn and easing his pain. Fenrir rose again, his eyes blazing with renewed loyalty. At the canyon's end, the queen discovered a hidden cave. Its walls shimmered with ancient runes glowing faintly blue, their shapes twisting like frozen flames. She knew this was a place of power, a remnant of magic older than her kingdom itself. In the heart of the cave lay a crystal shard, pulsing with energy. When the queen touched it, the shard glowed brighter, resonating with her own magic. Power coursed through her veins, and she knew this relic would be vital for the battles ahead. Stepping out of the cave, the Snow Queen looked across the horizon. A fiery glow had spread wider, devouring more of her land. With Fenrir at her side, her wolves behind her, and sprites circling above, she pressed on. Determination hardened her eyes. This was only the beginning of her greatest fight. The battlefield was torn in two. On one side, roaring fire scorched the earth, while on the other, piercing ice froze everything in its path. Smoke and frost swirled together in the wind, painting the land in chaos. The Snow Queen raised both hands high, her cracked crown glinting as she summoned a massive blizzard. The winds howled, snow and ice spinning into a storm that blanketed half the battlefield. From the burning side, the shadowy fire figure revealed its true form, a fiery warlord clad in blazing armor, his eyes burning like molten lava. His voice shook the earth as he roared a challenge at the queen. Frost wolves leapt forward, their icy fangs gleaming, as fiery beasts charged to meet them. The two sides clashed, frost against flame, each strike filling the battlefield with sparks and shards of ice. At the center, the Snow Queen's ice magic met the Fire Warlord's storm of flames. The collision erupted into a massive explosion, shaking the sky with thunder, blinding light, and a wave of heat and frost. Above the battlefield, snow sprites circled gracefully, casting shimmering icy light down upon the chaos. Their glow strengthened the queen's power, pushing back against the endless flames. But even she was not untouched. The flames licked at her gown, melting parts of it into steam. Her pale face glistened with sweat, yet her eyes burned with unyielding determination. With a final cry, the Snow Queen summoned all her strength. Her magic encased the Fire Warlord in a crystal of frozen flame, the prison glowing red and blue as it sealed him inside forever. The battlefield fell silent. Fire died out, ice stopped cracking, and snow began to fall gently, covering the ashes. The chaos was gone. Peace had returned at last. The Snow Queen stood proudly on a frozen hill. Her wolves and sprites gathered around her. Above them, the northern lights painted the sky with shimmering color. Her kingdom was safe once more.